Hi, welcome to another Tool Time Tuesday. I really don't have a project per se that I am wanting to make today, specifically like a layout or something. Maybe more in terms of um, embellishments, I would say, because we're talking about stamps. I wanted to share that you can have a whole array of I'm sure there's a ton of techniques out there. I just wanted to go over real quick what I do when I want to use my stamps and then be able to have future embellishments. Like, for example, this stamp set with Stampers Anonymous. It's from the Tim Holtz collection. I bought these two sets recently, within the past year or so, and I like them because then I can make my own embellishments in any of the colors that I want. These I did tone on tone, and I was able to do that because I did that because they're light enough that if I actually want to write something on top of it, or even stamp a different type of stamp with a darker ink like a black, I can always use something bigger like this to go in the stamp set or above it, or journaling, anything of the sort. And then that way I can use my own. These can turn into journaling spots, or just if you need a hint of color of something, you'll have that set. I have also done, I can do that later, I guess. The other thing that I done, and I had started this video already like 3 times, is I started by stamping this card front, or it's a large stamp that can be used as a card front. It has smaller embellishments here that can go inside the card, or you can even use these for a piece of ephemera. This would be a larger piece, and then you could use the accompanying stamps to make smaller embellishments around a layout. Let's say a 1-page layout in 12 by 12, or even something smaller. And you can use those as embellishments. I stamped quite a few of these so that I can color them in different mediums, like watercolors, or color pencils, or even alcohol markers. A lot, if you're really precise or want to be very precise about where you color or how you color these in, and you're worried about things smudging, what you can do is use a archival ink. I generally tend to use the archival ink one that isn't Ranger. I think the only thing is that it's just called Black Soot, I think is the difference. Oh, it's hiding because it's under this box right here. This is the one I generally use. I've used several others, but some aren't waterproof. And so since I know that I'm going to be doing watercolors or trying different mediums, I'm trying to use one that won't dye. This is an archival dye by Heidi Swap. And then there's also different types of dye inks. And I think those are the ones that won't smudge. Don't quote me on that, but you can experiment. This is another, this is one of my favorite blue ones. It's Paris Dusk. So, you know, if you aren't sure about what type of inks to use, there's several videos out there that are a lot more knowledgeable about that. But for me, it's just more of a play thing. Right now, I know that this one won't smudge. And so I went and I received a couple of stamp sets recently in the mail from my friend Caitlin. And she was trying to pay it forward and was getting rid of a couple of sets. And I actually liked a couple that she had sent me. And I started immediately playing with this one and a set that I had of my own. And so I stamped those in multiple pages, and then I also did the sentiments. Some of the stamping didn't come out right on the card front, so I just cut this out as an embellishment, and then I did several of the sentiments from from this stamp set so that I can have sentiments at the ready, whether I want a card or if I actually want to use this on a scrapbook page. I can do that as well. They're generic for the most part, so that I can add them to any layout I want. And since I make several layouts, or if I want to prep some cards, I actually made them in different colors as well. And a good segue for this is that if you're starting your own color binder and you want to start and you're barely starting out, this would be a good idea for making yourself a color binder. This one is my white section, or gray, and I actually stamped some of these document capture date stamps. They're tiny and they're in a circle, and I stamped them on patterned paper. So if you can see here, I've had them in different colors. I've also stamped different labels as well, different types of labels from different various stamp sets that I've acquired, and I've done them in different colors so that in case I have the need. And I'm building this notebook up since it's rather new to me. I've stamped them in different colors or used different colored pattern papers so that I can have them vary in not just in color but also pattern. So that's some of the ideas that I have going on. This is also stamped in different color, and then this is a stamp that stamps out the whole reinforcer, and that took me a minute to to think up. This stamp isn't very well stamped, but it's textured and I like that. And then this was just practicing with the different lines and different stamps that I had. And then here we go with another pattern paper, but that same circle stamp and in a different color. So those are all kind of ideas that I have when I like to stamp out images and then try to figure out where I can have them. Those are more ready because those are already cut out into a shape. So if you want to just die cut a bunch of shapes too and then see if they fit in there, a stamping platform would be great to have. If you don't have a shape yet, you can make pieces big enough that you could see if you could punch out and then or cut them in any shape you like, or just a block. I like these big background stamps because I actually like cutting these up into smaller pieces. I've done so with these. Let me see if I can find one. Oh, probably not here, but as you can see, oh, there they are. As you can see here, I've actually cut out some of those stamped images. This one is from a staying at home, like a staycation background stamp. And I really liked the little tags, and I can use these on a card, on my Stop the Blur spreads, or actually on my scrapbooking pages. And this is on a piece of pattern paper. This is white, and this is actually washi. So actually, this is not stamping, but these are. So the world is your oyster pretty much. Here's a different one with pattern paper as well. So I like the different looks that it makes. And then of course I can either use a big piece like this of pattern paper and it becomes pattern paper because I think this was just like a solid mustard color. Or you can cut them individually and make them specific colored embellishments, and then they can be used. The wonderful thing about stamping is that you can make them in any color, of course. Here's some other sets that I used, and even in black, they just make such a difference. The different types of stamps that you can use. I'm going to cut these up smaller so they don't have such a wide rim of white. I'm going to try a circle die, and if not, I'm going to cut them by hand. Here's one that I did on a little envelope. I cut this like a while back, and so I decided to just use this stamp to make it a little more elevated. If you just mass produce these, you can also send these as gifts or do a trade with someone that you want to trade images with, and that would be fun. I use scrap pieces of paper as well, and none the wiser, honestly. I've done that several times where I've used pattern paper to stamp on the back of, and I use those so that my scrapbook paper doesn't go to waste. So that's different ways. You can also stamp on different substrates. I stamped a bunch of these in vellum because I love the images. I feel like I can do definition stamping in different colors or texture stamps to make it look more vintage. Any type of writing, any type of definition sticker or fancy handwriting, canceling marks from like the post office. This is a new one that I got from Heidi Swap that she released a while back, and that has a bunch of cancellation stamps and all that. So texture or music notes, anything of the sort to make your stamps look different, also to take different moods and feels. You can cut them out and just use them as a plain flower, use different mediums to color them in, or use different colored inks and you add texture and words to make them all look different. So I stamped a whole bunch of those on a different type of paper. This is on some white paper. And I was just wanting to play. And so I did it on that archival ink. I did it on some craft paper to see if I can use the Tim Holtz new coloring pencils, or the watercolor pencils, I'm sorry, and then some watercolor paper. The image didn't come out right, but that doesn't mean that you can't still use it. It will work out. And that's it. I also, if you don't have shaped stamps, but you have punches, you can do the same thing with a punch and then add texture, add ink, and it can create a whole different type of look on that image itself, on the cut out image. And then the last one I want to show you is where you can use regular stamps like these and use them on pattern paper and use a coordinating color so that you can cut out different images in different types of colors. Or you can have these at the ready, have them cut out if they're simple shaped, simple enough, and you don't have to fussy cut them this close to the edge, but they work. And like I said, I use pattern paper too, and no one's gonna know when they're on the card or a layout, and they'll appreciate it too. So I even did a couple with gray in case I want the color to stand out more than the actual outline. So there's that will be my video. I hope that this was helpful in any way, and I hope you get inspired to either try your stamps in different colors and shapes, or add different techniques and mediums or different types of papers to your stamps. And the world is your oyster. Don't forget to check out the other ladies on the Tool Time Tuesday, excuse me, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.